Hello and welcome to the Digital EDU Dialogues podcast. I'm host Angela Britcher, and joining me today is Cesar Santalo. He is the Dean of the College of Communication and Design at Lynn University. Welcome, Cesar.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for having me on your show today.
Well, you bring such a creative mix of leadership, creativity, and innovation to the Lynn community. And today we want to share how you apply your experience of working in media and working at Univision and how you use that to guide your work in higher education. And so let's start by talking about your career journey and how you got from art to production and then to higher education.
Gotcha. Well, sure. So I've been an artist my entire life. I have my undergraduate degrees from Pratt Institute in drawing and painting. And then when I left New York and I came back down to Miami, all of at the time they were called want ads. It said Mac artist needed, and so that's when I really started learning a lot about computers and a lot about design. And make a long story short, I ended up working at Univision Network for over 20 years. In my last position at Univision, I was art director. So I was art director for entertainment. I was in charge of all the entertainment shows, like Gorda la Flaca, Despierta America, so on and so forth. I was also art director for digital and print. So I have a lot of experience in the industry, which is really great. And during that time, I had been teaching at the University of Miami, Miami-Dade College, the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. And so teaching had always been a passion of mine, and I always knew that it was going to be part of my life. So one thing I learned at Univision that for me was like key to leadership, that was kind of unexpected, is that I worked in big teams. And a lot of times we worked on projects that, people were working on day and night. And I realized, like, in order to be a really great leader was to help facilitate the workflow and to help facilitate our animators. And one thing I know is that sometimes our best animators are the ones that need the most attention. The equipment has to be perfect. This has to be perfect. And so besides art directing the project, I would help support them even on the smallest things. And I would see myself running around and just saying, how you doing? What can I help you with today? And before I even knew anything about servant leadership, I was already doing it. And so my last year at Univision, I decided to start. I decided to get my doctorate in leadership and administration at St. Thomas University. And as I was taking the courses, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is servant leadership. What I'm doing, like, it's not about me, it's about others. And not only that, Angela, I realized that we were also having a lot of fun. And one of the complaints, I guess, or comments that we would get from the art department was that we were the department that was having too much fun. And I was like, well, why can't work be fun? Like, but it was perceived as that we were goofing around. And then in my courses and working on my doctorate, I realized that without fun, without people being comfortable, they're not willing to take risks and they're not willing to innovate. And so I learned those lessons at Univision. And when they interviewed me for the job here at Lynn, I said trying to pronounce it, but I basically said that I'm going to have fun and everyone around me is going to have fun. And that's just the way that I work. And I think they really like that idea. Again, what Google is now doing and all of these amazing companies where they have ping pong tables and they have all of this stuff to make it fun, we were doing it at Univision, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. We didn't need ping pong tables. We were just having fun. And I credit that to my boss, George Dominguez, who was the VP at Univision, for creating that amazing atmosphere.
So that idea of fun and play as the kind of the baseline from it's from there that we get comfortable and that we can innovate. And it also sounds like you were just instinctively doing servant leadership and that idea of just supporting people. Like, what are the tools you need? What support do you need so you can get the job done and get it done well and have a good time doing it, which you're talking to the right person. This is that's how I like to work and lead as well. And so you have all this experience of fun and of play and of creating this culture. And so talk about some of the ways that you operationalized that when you first got to Lynn, like how you started interacting with faculty and started to create that culture of fun and creativity.
So the moment I got to Lynn, I wanted to really create a personal relationship with all the faculty. And I wanted to let them know that they were going to be the driving force of the change in our college. And luckily, I don't have that large of a department right now, but eventually I'm going to have an even larger. But I was able to, over several months, literally sit down with each faculty member and just find out more about them. And also tell them that what can I do to make your job better, right? Or what can I do to support you, uh, the academic units? What do I need to buy? What equipment do you need? So really, I was really trying to, again, develop that incredible relationship with them. And I wanted them to know that, again, they're the driving force and that I was going to have their back. And it really wasn't about me. If I make a decision, of course, I'm the person making the final decision, but that really they were all like incredible stakeholders. It was their college as it was mine. And then so that I started basically in March of 2025. 20 was 2021. And then in August, when the faculty came back, I wanted to surprise them with something. So for the first day that the faculty were back, we had our faculty meeting. We came out of the faculty meeting. And again, our college is on the top floor of the library at Lynn. And I got permission from the people who hired me. And I said, is it okay if I bring a mariachi band for our luncheon? And again, this is in the library on the third floor. And I just remember the faculty being around, and I had some really great Mexican food, which I'm a big fan of. And all of a sudden, we had, I think it was 4 mariachi players walk up the stairs. We have like this beautiful spiral staircase. They came up, and it was so loud, Angela. And again, this isn't an academic environment. So I'm dealing with PhDs, right? Incredible scholars, you know? And again, the culture in my college wasn't like that, but I've seen it work. I've seen it work for over 20 years, right? Where we're at Univision, we had an incredible learning organization where I came in as an artist, graphic designer, and I left, being again an art director, but also being an animator. I understood 3D, and the reason I knew those things is because all of our team ended up teaching each other because we just had a great bond, and no one was selfish, and we were learning from each other. That was amazing. I wanted to bring that to this college, and people said, "Are you crazy to a mariachi band? Like that's insane." And in a library, I said, "No, I want people to understand that this is a different culture." And it was great.
I love the idea of using music, using media to really, create this different culture. Like you're literally walking into a place that but it has changed and it is different.
Yes.
And, giving people that like experiential piece of what they're going to experience now.
Yes. And I really, I look back and I go, wow, I can't believe I did that. I really had the chutzpah to do it, but I was like, you know what? You only live once. So, and again, I think and again, I credit the leadership at Lynn, right? So, Dr. Katrina Carter-Tellis and Mike Petrosky, they love the idea. They're like, oh my gosh, go for it. But again, they give me the space to play. The other day, I heard this quote that I don't know if they said blessed, but they said, basically, blessed is the person that you don't know if they're working or playing. So sometimes I'm at work, I'm at home, and my wife goes, "It's Saturday, stop working." And I'm like, "But I'm really not. I'm having fun." It's just like I got, so my life has always been, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
So
That
I
allure
and
of enjoying your work and that it's always play and creative work. And
absolutely.
you've talked a bit about the leadership team there at Lynn, and you talked a little about servant leadership. Talk about how that has really all come together, like what servant leadership means to you, and how you all work together to create this culture there.
So I think one of the things I love about servant leadership is that when you're in a leadership position, I think one's ego can go through the roof, and you think you're some kind of like invisible sometimes, and that what you see. I think ego is a big problem in leadership, and I think what servant leadership does is that it reminds one that it's not about you, it's about others. It's and so and not only that, when sometimes I have faculty that are like, hey, I have this busted drawer, I'm gonna call facilities, and I'll be like, no, 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 don't worry about it. Here, look, all you gotta do is this and whatever. And they look at me like, but you're a dean. And I'm like, so what? Like, I'm just here to help. I'm here to
Mhm.
facilitate. I'm here to make the college better. I'm here to make your life better. And so there's nothing wrong about humility. I think we need more of that, to be honest.
Yeah, that idea of humility and that no job is too small or too big. Like everyone can tackle the jobs, no matter what your job title is.
Absolutely. And when the faculty see me doing that, whatever that is, they know it's authentic.
Mhm.
And I think that being authentic is amazing. I mean, that's tough. It's easier said than done, but it's just taken me years. I pretty much know who I am, and I know what makes me tick. And I know that I think my one of my mentors, Dr. Joseph Kanjemi, when I started this job, he told me, Cesar, it's easy, man. He goes, leadership is about others. That's all you have to know.
Mhm.
And so that keeps me grounded, and it makes me leave work with a real purpose.
Mhm. All right, that's a great transition to my next point, and that's when we first met, you shared some stories about how at Lynn you make students the star of the show, and that it's this real focus on the students. And so if you could talk about some of the projects that you've done with students, like the fashion show, and how those things have grown.
Yeah, so what the fashion show, they have actually been doing it for over 20 years,
Okay.
right? But again, my experience is in design, art, and branding, right? So one of my first questions is that, do they have a logo? Do they have a mission statement? Um, and so I basically took that portion over. We created the LFS brand. I designed the logo. I came up with the mission statement, and some really great things came out of it. So, but one of the things that the leadership at Lynn really wanted is even though I did that aspect of it, they want everything else to be very student driven. So last year we had over 200 students working behind the scenes to make the fashion show happen, right? So nothing is better, in my opinion. Look, it's great to have traditional learning where the teacher's standing in front of a classroom and just giving out information, right? With occasional feedback. That's great, but that shouldn't be the experience, the entire experience for the student body. There needs to be a mixture of experiential learning. And what the fashion show does is that it offers the students the opportunity to literally work on a real life project, right? That's probably one of the most important activities that the university is a part of. And a lot of our students, especially in the production side, worked. So, it would have been easy. We could have just hired a company to come and, shoot the fashion show from all these different angles, to have a director. We could have done that, right? But it was our students in the film production side that did that. And then on the College of Business side, you had one of our professors, Lisa Dandio, work with the students to actually produce the fashion show, meaning setting up all the models, doing hair and makeup, so on and so forth. So, and again, over 200 students. You don't see it, but that's one of the things I mentioned during the opening of the fashion show, that this is not only the College of Business and Management, but it's also the College of Communication Design, and also with some College of Arts and Sciences students as well. So one of the things we do really better than a lot of other universities is that we work across colleges. We're just not in this silo. And some of our best projects, bar none, are the ones where we're collaborating with other colleges. But we also, in our college, I don't want to take up too much time, but we also have this great thing called Pulse Agency. Again, what I love about this class is that we'll have a client come in. It could be like Nicholas Children's Hospital. It could be the Boca Raton Museum, or it could be Orange Theory. And so one of the things I believe that Orange Theory had was that they wanted to attract and retain more Generation Z employees. So Pulse Agency is literally our in-house advertising agency, all run by students, which is incredible.